One. All righty, guys. Hope everybody's doing good today. We are joined by Mr. Jim Bolen again for part 3. This will be our finale show. And if y'all have not seen the previous 2 shows, I will have those shows linked in the show notes. And I recommend you get back and watch those because literally from start to finish, we covered not all, because Mr. Jim ran a buku amount of missions, but some of his more notable missions. We did some great Q&As, but those of y'all that missed those 2 that may be watching this one, all questions are open that maybe we might have covered the last time. This is just a straight up free-for-all Q&A. So when everybody starts getting in here, let the questions get going. I see it's a little slow for people getting in. So I will go ahead and start off. I think until we get in some viewers here before we start covering some new information. Let me see here about some stuff that people were interested in that maybe we can speak about covering the last time. Oh, how about you had mentioned you were looking around and found a book that you were mentioned in about the grease gun.
Yes, correct.
Did you
hold that up?
Yes, sir. Did you want to hold that up for everybody?
Yeah. Like I say, it's a German book, but it talks in pretty detail about, the M1A1 grease gun with and without a silencer, both. It's got everything in it. It's a hard copy book. Where's the back of it?
Wow, that's a good one.
It's a nice book. If you're really interested in that weapon, it certainly it goes into detail about it. So
it looks pretty thick. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it gets into it.
Yeah.
And there's a section.
It's mostly pictures, obviously. Mostly pictures about how you disassemble it.
Yep, and you're actually a few of your photos are featured in there as well. So, and guys, if y'all see that, I believe Mr. Jim mentioned it's in German, but those you guys should know you shouldn't be fretted by that. You can still get the book, and on all the phones we've got now, it's got auto translate, so you can translate. I've got Finnish books that I couldn't. I mean, it looks like literally chicken scratch that I can't read, that I've literally gone page through page and read a book, translating it through my iPhone. So don't fret on that. Get that book. It's an amazing resource for you guys that are interested in the grease gun. But we did have someone jumping in already, and this is actually curious the amount of time you spent in Asia. This is a bit of two-parter. Did you run into men from other projects like Force Recon or Navy SEALs while in Vietnam?
No, I did not. Although, again, at jump school and some of the other schools, special warfare school, of course, you run into them. But none in Vietnam.
None in Vietnam. Yeah, that's it seems like with down where y'all were, y'all wouldn't have, other than I guess a happenstance of seeing a SEAL. All the Force Recon guys were up north where CCN would have been, and all of that up in I-Corps and all of that. So I can see that as well.
There was one operation I tried to get the Major River running along the borders of North Vietnam, South Vietnam. There's a major river, and some team spotted they had a bunch of boats tied up at a big dock somewhere in the Cambodia side, and they wanted to know what was in those boats. And I said, "Let me put together a mission." I said, myself and my 10. I said, our 11, we'll go at it and float down there with the floats at night, and we'll be able to crawl into the boats and take pictures and see what's in it. And they thought it was a good idea, but they gave it to the SEALs. They took it away from me. But anyway, that's the closest I've come to getting involved with any SEALs over there in Vietnam.
Wow. And it's interesting. I didn't really find out until reading Jason Hardy's books, The Team History on Ohio, Iowa, and then another book by a SOG author, that there was probably anywhere from 5 or 6 SEALs in 67, I believe, that went to CCC and ran recon for only a few months, but did a little cross training with the SEALs and Op 35, and from their accounts, that is the most combat. One mission with SOG was the most intense combat they saw in multiple SEAL tours. So right. I thought that was a big kudos to y'all and what y'all face on a daily basis. We had, and actually, thank God I saved these the other day when we had to cut it short due to weather. But one of the viewers, before I say this, guys, all of y'all that are coming in, this is a Q&A, so start hitting us with questions. I know some of y'all had some from last time that you didn't get in. Go ahead and start getting them in, and we'll hit them. But one of the viewers last time was curious, did Mr. Jim do any nighttime excursions or / missions, or just all daytime operations?
Well, you're out there day and night, so everything is either day or night, depending. The enemy has a lot of influence on that, what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So no, we had a lot of nighttime, and they had a night scope for us that worked off the moonlight. Actually, what it worked off of.
Is that the big old starlight?
Yes, but I didn't like that very well. I didn't think it's very, very practical. But yeah, I've done a couple of river watches where you have to stay up all night to watch what's coming down the river. Again, like I was talking about these boats. So yeah, I imagine every mission is night and day.
Oh yeah. I'll have a two-parter here. Did y'all and again, of course, night and day, but did y'all have any specific missions where y'all maybe launched at night and went in at night and RO'd immediately, or was it all launching at day and just nights crewed among the mission?
That one mission that launched around 2 a.m. is the one that gives me the cold chills still. Yeah. Where they dropped me on an enemy compound and drug me through. That's one of the missions. I mean, I've enjoyed every one of my missions, even when I got shot, blown up, whatever. But that one scared the crap out of me. Because like I always said, I like special forces, and of course I like SOG because I was in control what was happening on the ground, and that's the only mission I was on that I had zero control. The pilot of the Huey had all the control, and I was attached to that thing on a 200-foot rope, drug through the jungle, and ended up dropping into an APC. I mean, it just that was miserable. Plus flying it for a couple of hours, waiting for my snap link to break, which it should have. It didn't. And, just waiting to drop.
That's a nasty one.
That was only night and only night infiltration, and thank goodness no more.
Yeah, I can imagine after that one you were glad no more no more night missions, at least launching at night and doing stuff like that. Jeez Louise. Everybody's always interested in because you guys utilize these assets so well. And I can't remember if we spoke about it in one or two, but did y'all use any spooky gunships, or did you in particular use Spooky or Spectre, the AC-130 gunship?
Well, the Blackbirds, C-130 Blackbirds, I think I mentioned that we get right before we go on a mission, we have our AO area that we're working out of on a wall, and then they have a clear acetate over that, and it shows any heat signatures they get from the ground from the C-130. And I don't know what they're flying, 20,000 feet. Or something. It's incredible. It's an incredible thing. And it'll show you direction of movement or if there's any pockets. But again, some of that movement could be animals. I mean, you can pretty well tell which are animals and which are the enemy.
That's some amazing capabilities even back then to be able to fly that high and key in on everything. And especially when y'all got the strobe lights that y'all could mark, and they would just tear up the area around y'all with those. I think they had 40 Mike cannons. Later on they had, I think, howitzer 150, 155s in them and all kinds of stuff.
You talking about the Jolly Green? You know what you're talking about?
The Spectre with the doors out, the guns, the big 130 flying around y'all that y'all would call in.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I told you that one of the gentlemen that I worked with on the 1-0 school, that was the first 1-0 school, and I was the first instructor of that school, and we each had like a 5 or 6 man team that we were working with in the field. And I think I told you one of the men, nice guy, I hated to do it, but I failed him. And everybody else was just great, but I failed him. And later I heard that, and one of the reasons I failed him because he just never knew where he was on the ground. We took turns with the map reading and things like that as we moved through the jungle to see if everybody knew where they were going and where they ended up and things. But he actually called a gunship in, or a Jolly Green Giant on his own team, and everybody got killed.
Jeez,
it's too bad.
And we've heard terrible tales, and there's not many because most of you guys could read a map like reading a book, but there are some terrible tales of. And sadly, it seems like a lot of them were officers, but even some older NCOs that maybe didn't have much recon experience going out, wanting to go out and not knowing where in the heck you guys were, or calling in air, or trying to get extracted and calling in the wrong LZ, and it just God.
Well, again, you got again all the old French maps. It's all contour lines, and it'll show a stream, it'll show a trail sometimes, but you got to be able to read the contour lines, and that's something that I was very good at. A couple of those missions, they thought once I moved out of the area and got reinforced with, the 60 pounds of C4 or different things, thought there's no way I'd find my way back in after moving out for a couple of days, but I came right upon it. So for some people it's pretty easy, and some people it isn't.
Where in particular, I mean, I know Special Forces training and Army training teaches you well, but did you just naturally pick up and know where you were at all times, or was it SF training and such that really dialed it in for you being able to read a map?
Well, that particular part of training in Special Forces was real easy for me. So, and I don't know why I got that. I just had it, and
wow.
So that was one of the easier parts of the schooling.
Wow. There's some guys like you that we hear that just know where they are at all times. You give them a map and they can pinpoint it and know exactly where and how long they've been walking. And I find that to be a special gift as well. Just another one of those well-encompassing traits that makes a hell of a recon man. And I know we're starting to get some people in here. That's going good. I had one. Let me pull up my other questions. And I know I had one that I just showed a picture of you with your shirt off with your LBE. Folks were wondering how with y'all having only rations and maybe every once in a while getting good food or whatever, how in the Lord's name were you able to keep fit and as big as you were in Vietnam? Workout, eating, what were you doing to where you were as big as you were?
Well, of course, the food, one thing about Special Forces, we got good food, very good food, and as much as we wanted. So food was no problem. You couldn't get protein shakes and things like that like you can now. But, and everybody had their own little workout thing. I had my parents send me some dumbbells over. And I use those somewhat. Believe me, in the field, you get a heck of a workout in the field, and it's a full body workout because moving, getting down and getting up and getting under all the tango foot, and lifting your legs, and it's all work. And you're carrying it over 100. My full regular like 100 and 110 pounds.
Jeez.
So, and very little of that was food, mostly ammunition. And then ammunition and water, I told you, were the most important things. So, It's pretty easy to stay in shape. I thought so.
Evidently so, because it didn't look like from Vietnam afterwards when you got home and in Rhodesia where you were, which will come up in a bit. You seem to have kept your mask quite well. I found that to be quite interesting. You were always big.
I started working out when I was, I don't know, I think 13 or 14. Some kid beat me up it didn't beat me up, it pushed me around in the 3rd grade. And my father always believed it takes a bigger man not to fight. That's what he always preached to me. But this kid got me in the 3rd grade, and I lived with that until the 8th grade. And I got him and beat the crap out of him, and I felt much better. So I certainly changed my mind about, turning the other cheek, so to speak. But I've always stayed in shape. I started working out, and I work out. I'm 83, and you see I'm still in pretty good shape. So
you're
83. I'll be 84 in a few months. So, but I just like staying in shape. Always have. My children are in shape. My son Brock played professional football. I mean, he runs 5 miles every day.
I remember watching your son in college at wasn't he at Louisville?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, at running back or fullback, and he was a bowling ball going down the field and could run.
They actually called a bowling ball on the speaker or on the big
the PA system on the
RT and everything. So.
Yeah.
But no, he was. I remember in high school, I would have referees come up to me and say, "Man, when your son came through the line, it would scare the crap out of us. We just had to get out of the way, But,
yeah,
he had over 6,000 yards rushing in high school.
Jeez, in high school too, and that was when Louisville was really starting to get good. I as a matter of fact, I think maybe Patino might have been there or
Bobby.
Yeah,
he was great.
He ended up going to Arkansas, my dad's team, and we got to love him for a little bit.
But we won the Orange Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And Brock had a 25-yard touchdown run that won the Orange Bowl for us.
Mm-hmm.
But Petrino was a great coach. And he was tough.
Oh, yeah.
The coach that got in, Brock always tells me, real quick, this isn't about the military, but
that's fine.
He said in the locker room when Petrino come in, every kid would just stand up at attention. But when the other new coach, Crabthorpe, came in, no one even paying attention to him. He just a completely different type of coach.
Just didn't command that respect.
Professional football for 4 years to Jacksonville, made a lot of money. I mean, millions of dollars. I mean, the money those guys make, and now they get paid for it in college.
Oh yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's what's been blowing my mind, seeing what they're making in college these days. Jeez. And I think we talked about that no night missions. You did have a Starlight. I guess I don't know. We did speak about the wiretap operation, but one of these questions was specifically any sensor installation missions where y'all would drop something off and come back and get it later on, or?
No, we didn't. But the teams up north, they would plant sensing devices along the trails and the roads. And again, that was picked up by the Blackbird, C-130 Blackbird. And every time a vehicle would go down there, the vibration from the ground would send an impulse. And like that, I remember when Johnson stopped the bombing halt, they went from like 4 trucks a day to like 20 or 30 trucks a day. And that's all munitions and personnel being taken down to the border. I mean, it was so obvious that should never stop the bombing, but politicians and people don't really know what's going on, and sad.
Yeah, they never should have stopped in '68, and then but Nixon should have never stopped bombing the North either. Both of those were just costly mistakes.
Well, we could tell different when they stopped the bombing.
I bet y'all could.
Busier down there, yeah.
I bet it got quite busy. this is always interesting because we have had some guys talking about getting out when it was nasty would be preferable because no one would hear you and not be expecting you. But did one of the viewers asked on the last show, he always wondered, was it better to do the more dangerous missions in nasty weather when they might not expect you going in?
Nasty weather is always the best because, well, first of all, you don't make near as much noise. Everything is quieter. It quiets the leaves, sticks you're stepping on or anything like that. It just quiets everything down. And again, like I mentioned in the last interview, if we get in unnoticed, we were strong. But now, if they knew we were coming in, or if it was a hot LZ and they knew we got in, then they're after you. But you got to remember, these guys, if they don't know we're in that area, they're very lackadaisical. It's not like they're up and ready to fight. You know what I mean? Once you catch them off guard, it's pretty easy to do that. And the same way in bad weather, they're going to be hunkered down in bad weather, and they're not going to be out in that rain. But no, I loved it when it rained. Except that I didn't like it at night when you try to sleep.
I think one of the guys said that. Gosh, I just went blank on what I was about to say. Getting in. It was about getting in when it was raining. I'll come back to it. My brain just literally farted right then. It completely left me. Sorry about that, guys. I've got so much stuff floating around the head. Let me pull up this other question. Maybe it'll come back to me. This is actually interesting. Daniel's watching live, and he's got a few questions, but I'm reading some of these older ones that they typed up. I think we talked about some animal encounters, but did for any new viewers, did you have any tiger or snake encounters that may have gotten hairy for you guys?
Well, one thing with the tiger, the fact before we shut down for the night, he knew where we were, and we were still moving for an RON position, remain overnight position. And he got on the radio and said, "Hey guys, I got to tell you, you got a tiger on your tail. It's following you guys." And again, remember I told you we take one silenced weapon like the grease gun, the M3, M1 A1 grease gun. We would break it down and share it, the weight. Not as a primary weapon, but just as a backup weapon or a weapon to use at night in case an animal or a villager or NVA would come across you, you could kill them silently. But we put that thing together that night, and I'll tell you what, we could hear that tiger walked around us for a long time and just kept kind of moaning and moaning and moaning. And I'll tell you what, that's probably scarier than the NVA because you're not intimidating him with a weapon. They don't. They just want to eat.
He don't need no light or anything. He just starts ripping throats and grabbing with his claws, and that's all she wrote. Were y'all in his hunting territory? You think? Was he maybe mad y'all were in his AO, so to speak?
Well, I didn't care. I just want to get the hell out of there. But I don't know. It's very possible. I'm sure it was part of his territory.
Oh my gosh, we've had a lot of battalion and force recon Marines. It seems like they had the dangest luck up there in I Corps with a lot of their boys getting attacked or attacked and surviving, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies when y'all dealing with the snakes and the spiders, and then when you bring tigers into the fold, that's a whole nother level of pucker factor right there.
And as far as snakes, I mean, there have been quite a few times that we'd have to go underneath a tree to have a big, a python laying up on top of the tree. And of course, if they're not hungry, they don't bother you. They don't attack unless they're going to eat. They only eat once every 3 months or something. And I came close to a pit viper one time when we were laying up in a bunch of bamboo. And matter of fact, Nay Boone wanted to save me on that. He kind of grabbed me, and as he grabbed me and pulled me, that pit viper hit my pack. So, but and then there's also I think it was in Khartoum. One of the Americans were killed by an elephant.
Oh, trampled. I think I remember hearing that story. They ran through the RON and trampled the man to death.
Yeah. And yeah, that was underneath our bunk.
Ooh.
Why we didn't have any rats in our tent.
Holy! I think it looks like you're holding your beret to see if he'll strike it.
I don't know. I can't tell that from that picture.
Somebody's dog's back there. I hope he knew not to get close to that bad boy.
But again, talking about elephants, I remember we were doing something in country for the 173rd. We were shut down for like a week for some reason. Some VIP was visiting Cambodia, Prince Sihanouk, and so we had to stand down. And so we were doing some alert work for the 173rd.
Oh.
And we were in the reeds, high reeds. They're probably 6 foot high. And I never will forget my point man, Mang Qua, just froze. And I thought, what the heck? I didn't hear anything. And so I got up close to him and what's going on? And he points in front of me and we pulled the reeds back. Huge elephant. We just looked up and he was just sitting there, standing there, that elephant. And he put the weeds back and we just backed back out of it. That's the closest I've ever been to an elephant. But man.
Oh, I bet that was a sight.
That definitely got your attention.
I can imagine. So I wonder if that was when Miss Jackie Kennedy went to Cambodia.
I think maybe it was. Yeah.
That sounds about the time period.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Y'all having to shut down because her in Cambodia. I always found that.
If they bring back a American POW, American, then what's this doing here? Suppose the Americans aren't supposed to be over here and things like that. Although he knew we were over there. I mean, we had to deal with him. I mean,
Just having to play the politics.
Politics. There you go. Never changes.
Never. Literally to this day. Daniel, he's got quite a few good ones here. And guys, I'll be getting into the live chats here. I'm about to finish up the old ones. With Cambodia, especially, it's always interesting to ask this question. Daniel's curious, did y'all ever encounter any old temples, ruins, or any old maybe Buddhist or even any old NVA infrastructure in the jungle?
Well, no, the first part of that, because I watch the History Channel a lot, of course, my age. But I always thought to myself, boy, I wish I would have run across something back, in Cambodia, because we were an area that nobody never trampled on that soil before. And I always found that interesting. I always liked that. But as far as old NVA camps, they set up camps every so many miles down the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And they were permanent camps because the units would come down, and whether it be a squad or a battalion, they would set up in there. And their camps were absolutely unbelievable. I think I told you they had tennis courts, volleyball courts. I mean, they're just absolutely first class place to live. And the way they pull the trees across the beach, they don't cut out every tree. They leave so many trees. Like I told you, that one mission, I spotted the stumps cut off for that weapons thing. I knew they were building something, but they built unbelievable camps, and you'd never know they were there. They actually had hospitals. They had everything. And a unit would just move into, and they'd set up there and then stay there for a day or two, get resupplied or rested, and move on down, and another unit would move into it. They were unbelievably good at things like that.
Yeah, seeing some of y'all's photos and photo albums that I've been lucky enough to see, it's absolutely amazing what they were capable of building way out there in the boonies by themselves and such. It's just amazing. Daniel, again, what anti-tracking techniques did you use during patrols except putting out a lot of toe poppers?
Yeah. Well, again, the only thing we would do is crossing a trail. The tail gunner, is his responsibility to clean up our tracks when we cross the trail, because of the a jungle boot leaves a very distinct track.
Oh yeah.
I remember after I came home from Vietnam, there some newspaper woman made a big stink. It was in all the newspapers that she found out that we were buying American GI American jungle boots with tire treads on the bottom, because that's what a lot of them wore, tire tread. And she thought that was horrible, blah, 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 all this typical newspaper person, not knowing what the hell they talked about. But now we weren't fortunate enough to have any of those, but I know a lot of teams did have them. And that way you never had to worry about leaving your print anyplace, because your print matched their prints.
Wow, that's very. I was always interested about seeing the. They had the boot with the like the barefoot, and then the one that supposedly left no track. It was almost like a wallaby or chucka boot bottom, just the flat sole. But I've heard those were notoriously hard on your feet. It's always interesting.
It sounds like they would be, yes.
All right, I think some of these actually will be tying into the questions that we've got in the chat now. Let's see. Yep, that was the last one. Okay, let's hit the group chat now here, guys. If y'all are watching and got any to chime in on, Daniel's got a few here that I'm about to hit. Let them fly if y'all have got them. Daniel was curious, what was your impression of the NVA or the VC units you encountered, their tactics, discipline, or equipment, and was there any difference in country with Omega versus over the fence with CCS? Good questions.
Well, again, I hate to say this, but the NVA and the VC, they were a superior soldier. I mean, they were things that they would do. I mean, they give them a bag of rice and say, in North Vietnam, and say, head down to Saigon. I mean, just the things they could do is just amazing. Again, like building the shelter, the encampment that they would build. The VC, as an example, and bam to it, we were hit one night. And now you got to remember, we had razor wire all around our compound. We had tango foot all around our compound. All our tango foot was interwoven with, I don't think what it's called.
Concertina wire?
Well, it was woven with, God, I'm trying to look for the word. Things that would blow up in the air, or send off a signal. I mean,
flares and such, and
yeah. That's, I mean, even the daylight, we would have trouble going through it.
Wow!
And when they came in our camp, they actually made it in through all our wire and into the camp. And fortunately, they did it. Well, I shouldn't say fortunately, but they did it at the area where our Indige were staying, and they went in and opened fire, and a lot of the Indige killed a lot of the Indige, things like that. And then we had to go and see where they came through the next day. Unbelievable. They would take the tripwire, which this tripwire, if you pull it, the flare will go off, or if you release it, the flare, a double trigger. They would tie that thing off and then move on to the next one. And then people would follow behind them. And it's just absolutely, I don't see how people could do that in a combat situation and be able to do that and handle and get through all that. But like I said, they were incredible. And again, the North Vietnamese, they're trained with a wooden rifle, and they don't even get a rifle half the time until they get down into Laos or Cambodia. That's when they get their first live fire. But
that's crazy.
If they had gunships like we had and had the support and things like we had, we couldn't have beat them. I don't think they were just a very unbelievable soldier. And I hate to say that, but it's true.
Oh yeah, I mean, people need to know. I mean, of course, this generation, my generation and generation younger, they don't learn about the war. They think, oh, the U.S. was beat by farmers with bolt action rifles. It's like, not the case at all. I mean, it's just these guys were at that point in time. I think they had the most combat experience in the world. at that point in time?
A lot of them did. Well, people always ask you what kind of training does it take to make a good soldier that you'd want to, work with. I said, training had nothing to do with it. I said, give me a person with good attitude and the right attitude, right discipline. That's what you look for. And,
wow.
And those are things you can't train, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you got somebody who wants to be there and is determined, you can work with everything else.
And believes in what they're doing. And let's face it, like half the soldiers and American soldiers, they didn't think they belonged there and shouldn't be there. And you got Jane Fonda, who should have been shot. Matter of fact, when I did some bodyguard work for a few years, and I was at Hefner's house and Larry Flynt. I went to a lot of big events. Celebrity events with him, and then with God, I can't think of that guy. Oh, Harold Robbins, the most famous author in the world. He sells 25,000 copies of his books a year or a day, and I stayed with him in Cannes for a while, France. But I told all of them, I said, I got to let you know, if Jane Fonda walks in that door or whatever, I said, I'm going to hit her as hard as I can. I said, I guarantee it, I will kill her for that one question. I let them all know. I said, so be prepared. And I never did see her, but I'll tell you what, I always had an eye out for her because I thought, man, that'd be my chance to get a shot in her before she did. And now she's in this country. Matter of fact, the business, I owned a multi-million-dollar business after I got back. I got lucky, got involved in some things. But I remember I had 4 secretaries outside my office, and I happened to go by one of my secretaries' desk. Sue, great, wonderful, wonderful lady. And I found out she just passed not too long ago. But she had her desk drawer open, and she had Jane Fonda's book in there, workout book. I said, Sue, take that goddamn book, take it out right now, take it outside, don't put it in my building, get it out in your car. And she could not understand why. And then I had to explain to her and the other girls why. And then they understood. But, most people don't know what's going on. It's too bad.
Yeah, that's my dad educated me early on her, and this apology tour she went on, that ain't cutting it for me. She'll be garbage in my book for
that one time with the POWs up north. One of the guys slipped her a note, and she turned right around and gave it to the NVA commander, and the guy was beat to death practically. You know what I mean? For that, I mean, I don't know.
She should have been brought up on treason. That's crazy.
Yeah. What's going on in the government now? Our government, it's just too bad. But anyway, go ahead.
And this talking about future special forces people, soldiers. Daniel was curious if you could pass on one lesson to future special operations units, what would it be?
If I could pass on one lesson?
Yes, sir.
To future?
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I told you it's not a lesson. It's your attitude and discipline. But that's a good question. Again, one nice thing about special operations units, you don't have some second lieutenant telling you, like I said before, charge that hill. And then you get everybody wiped out because he really doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So one nice thing about special operations, everybody you're with is a professional, and he's there because they want to be there. They're professional soldiers. And they all have good attitudes. They all have families at home. They're all Americans and believe in America. But I'm trying to think any particular one lesson.
I think having the right attitude, like you said,
discipline would probably be the best lesson you could teach them, because you'll run up against all kinds of things. You'll be out of water, you'll be out of food, be out of ammunition. A lot of things can happen to you in a combat area. So I'm sorry I couldn't answer that.
No, that's exactly what you. I think the mindset part is a huge aspect. You've got to have it in your mind and have it cut out. You're going to do it or you're not, and that's probably 90% of the fight right there. We covered that one. This has to deal if you came across structures in Cambodia on a mission. How did your team approach structures? If you found them cautiously, did you avoid them, or would y'all blow stuff up? What would y'all do when you found infrastructure?
Okay, any structures? The only structures I ever found again were military facilities made specifically for the MVA traveling through that area. Again, you don't go walk into it right away. You sit outside where you see it. A couple meters into the jungle where you got a good eyes on it. You can tell whether or not anybody's moving into it. Yeah, nobody, and they're so big. You really have to really pay attention because someone could be set up. A smaller unit could be set up at the beginning or the end of the structure or whatever, because they cover a lot of ground. So you don't want to be walking through there and having them pop out at you. Matter of fact, that happened to me one time. We moved into a structure we thought it was empty, and it was empty. And I remember I went into this. They had an underground bunker, a big one. I was in there taking pictures, and they cautioned me to get out. We got to go. A unit actually was moved into that unit, but fortunately, this thing probably held 300 or 400 soldiers. Fortunately, there's only like maybe 20, 30 soldiers that moved in. And so they never got to where I was. I was out on the outer edge. So you have to watch about that. And again, I also mentioned to you, if you remember correctly, when you're flying around on your FAC looking for an LZ, you'll see little 18-inch wide trails going from one jungle area, goes into another jungle area. And the grass will be, maybe 2 foot high, but a distinct trail. Well, when you're on the ground, if you follow that trail into the clump of the jungle, it opens up into like a city. It's unbelievable. And that's the way they built it, because once if they ever did an invasion, they would actually turn that trail into a road, because it's capable of being just turned immediately into a road. And it's just amazing the way they deceived everybody on what they could do. They were good soldiers. They were good soldiers.
Wow. I mean, like when you guys would bomb the trail, you're thinking you're going to knock it out for at least a week or something. And then next thing you know, if they're close enough and sleeping near, you can hear bulldozers already fixing the road from your RON or wherever. It's like, good Lord, have mercy.
Yeah, it's hard to stop them, like a bunch of ants.
Worker ants, absolutely.
They really are.
Wow, that is crazy. I've always found that interesting. How common were booby traps or punji pits on your missions?
Well, again, we're in their area, so I don't think we never found any booby traps or punji stakes pits at all. But like I told you, we did some work for the 173rd, and that's what part of the things we would do. They wanted us to work the trails and clean out any booby traps or punji pits or whatever. And we didn't really see too many where we were. And again, we just did this part-time for like a week or something. So it wasn't like we spent a lot of time.
That's very interesting, though, doing some point element work for the 173rd. And the other question, and you said you didn't encounter any, it was saying, what was the most dangerous or clever trap you ever encountered? Was there one that caught your eye that was particularly dangerous, or was it just a normal booby trap?
I'm trying to think, and I said, no, nothing comes up that I could think of.
Nothing to write home about, so to speak.
No.
These next two are actually very interesting. Daniel's curious, were there certain areas or regions that you guys dreaded to patrol because of how dangerous or off they felt once on the ground?
Well, a lot of times we knew it was going to be really hot, but there was one area called the Fishhook area, which is west of Saigon. It's called the Fishhook area.
Jerry Shriver area where he went.
And I tell you what, I was on a plane sent down there with my team to go into that area, and then they changed their mind and moved me back up to Pamituit. And I was kind of glad, because I was told that guys would jump off the chopper, and as they're trying to run away get into the jungle, people were actually grabbing by the ankles, because they were, they had underground, so many underground facilities there. And that fish hook area was supposed to be really, really full. I mean, that's where all the major units ended up before they took over Saigon and everything. Because that was down at the tail end of South Vietnam. But that was a real, real dangerous area. And with my background, they thought, well, send me. And I'm glad. That's one mission I'm glad that I didn't get.
Jeez, I wonder if that's the one that Llewellyn has that photo where he's in NVA garb talking about that y'all were going to go on, and they canceled at the last minute. I need to look into that and see. That could coincide with it. Daniel, again, another good one. Were there places your team considered no-go zones because of previous losses or bad outcomes for other RTs?
Oh, no. Matter of fact, those would be the go zones as far as I was concerned.
Figure out what's going on.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, but just like my previous colonel said, I love to mix it up once it was over. I mean, I just every dead NVA was a good NVA, is the way I look at it. It saved American lives. And so when my mission was done, basic mission was done, I was looking to eliminate as many enemy soldiers as I could. So a no-go zone would be exactly where I'd want to go. So.
Wowza. Man. Were you able to participate in any PSYOP type missions, like Wandering Souls, for example?
Well, not really. I know they would fly around and drop pamphlets in those areas over there, some of those areas over there. And they also did have some speakers that they would utilize. And I think that's the Wandering Souls you're talking about. But I've never involved in any of those. Now, the PAOPS missions, one of the things we did, we would drop sometimes a magazine that had one round in it, that instead of
doctored round.
Yeah, it had petting in it. The whole round was petting rather than like a normal gunpowder. And what that would do, that would drive the bolt back to the soldier's head, take half his head off. I mean, they were really strong. And then we also did that with the 82 millimeter mortars.
Oh yes.
Matter of fact, in Saigon or in Pamituit, regular military army unit had us come over to their compound. They wanted to show us something. They showed us they were attacked that night with mortar rounds, and they showed us this one mortar facility that was just everybody was dead and blown out all around it. And the mortar at the base was just blown to pieces. And they said, "Do you know what this is about?" Well, of course, we did know what it was about. That was one of our rounds.
Oh, so
I did that.
See the effects of it.
Yeah, and of course that is a PSYOP thing, because if you see your buddy get his head blown off, his weapon blowing up, you're going to wonder, should I fire my weapon? Are all our weapons defective? I mean, that was really good. And of course, they passed a thing in South Vietnam, because a lot of guys like to carry the AK-47 and stuff like that, which I don't understand why, but they took most of those away from people, told them not to do it. Nobody understood why. Of course, the reason was because they could possibly picked up a weapon that had one of those rounds in it, built from weapon rather than gunpowder.
Wow.
But that's and we did that on almost every mission. Whenever we found a trail that was moving fast, we would just throw a 30-round magazine down, and they would say, "Oh, the people in front of us dropped it." Unit went through here previously, dropped it, and they're always looking to
for ammo.
Oh yeah, they scrounged out for anything, and so someone picked it up, and they always did. So that was a psychological thing, and of course, again, they were worried because there were a few Americans starting to get killed that way, and I'm sure their parents wouldn't like it if they heard about that, for one thing.
I can see now why the guys on the compound and all of that made sure the ammo was clean and U.S. issued for guys using AKs on SOG missions and such.
Right.
Boy, knowing that, I would be pretty iffy on that as well.
Yeah, like our point man, Manqual, he always carried almost always carried a AK-47, because again, that gave us the advantage, the surprise advantage, because he always dressed like an NVA or a villager or whatever, and he's carrying an AK-47. So when he bumps into a unit, they almost always think that it's part of their unit or are friendly to them. So that gives you a few seconds to show them it otherwise.
Wow, man, oh man. That's it's always interesting the measures y'all use, like CCC doing the leggings or wearing all black, like which you did as well, trying to maybe look indigenous or a Russian advisor or what have you. Always neat to hear that. Okay, we're getting towards the last couple here. Frank was curious, what was your food protocol before and during missions? If one, did he eat or not eat certain things because emitting smell, or to eliminate smell while on an operation?
That's a good question. Well, one thing, like I said in my book, I would stop bathing maybe 2-3 days before. No after spray.
No deodorant.
No deodorant. No soap. Nothing. Yes. And then whatever unit I was going to wear, clothes I was going to wear, I would sleep in those and wear those all the time.
Wow.
Make sure there was no like any kind of a starch smell or anything. So that was what I really believed, and I believe that helps, and I believe that those guys were so good they could smell that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But as far as the food, I eat the normal food myself personally. But if you remember correctly, and again I mentioned this in the book, I usually give my indig their food the night before, so they can pack their gear together, get all their gear ready. So we take off early the next morning, 6 o'clock or something like that. And I never will forget, we got rained out the next day. We couldn't go, so we were going to go the next day. So the next day, here we are out on the launch pad and get ready to get on a chopper. And Nate Boone comes to me and says, "Hey, they don't have any food." I said, "What?" I said, "They got plenty of food. I gave them plenty of food." And so we had to go get more food, but they ate all our food. And they will eat their food when you give it to them. They eat it. And the only thing I carried, two things I carried with me on as far as my meals, like out in the field. I had a bag of indigenous rice, which they would give us from was made over in the Philippines, and I would load up with hot sauce and pepper and salt and stuff like that and make it. And I always carried that in one of my pouches as an emergency. But one of the meals, they had some lurps, which I really loved. Lurps that were indigenous wrapped, but they had spaghetti and meat sauce, and I loved that because I ate it cold, But I would just tear open, mix that up, and that would be my meal. And in the morning, the only thing I ate in the morning was they gave us some indigenous packs of chocolate for like hot chocolate, and I would run 2 or 3 of the bags together and pour some water in and make it like a paste. So I'm a chocolate hog anyway, still am. And that's what I'd eat for breakfast. So.
Are these some of the Indig rations? This is Jason Hardy's website, and
it kind of looks like them. The picture's so small on my screen. That looks like one right there. That's the rice right there.
Recook rice with some vitamins in it. Waterline. Got some dried fish.
No. But the rice, I always ate that. That's the rice that we carry.
There's a little chili peppers.
A clear pouch. And like I say, I'd make it up before we even got on the chopper to go out. Put it in my side pouch. That way, I always have food. I mean, that could last me for a couple of weeks because you don't eat it all at once, obviously.
Wow.
Actually, you don't eat much out there.
Oh, I can imagine. Lord knows you don't want to eat and get a cramp or, Lord, even worse, have to go to the bathroom during a firefight.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of that, we've heard some of the guys talk about taking stuff to make sure they didn't go to the bathroom. Did you ever have to do that, or were you good? Did you know your body well enough that you didn't have to go to the bathroom past a certain point? Or
never did have to do the big one out in the field. Well, I don't think I did. I'm trying to think. Maybe one time, but that's where you lay on your side. You pull your pants down, lay on your side, and, and then you got to worry about what's around you. What's crawling up the backside of it too. But I just it's what the old saying, the pucker factor.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So although I was never, I tell you, I loved it. I loved the field work. Boy, I did being back at that base camp. Actually, I always hated when they had me go do some kind of a school. So I'd rather been out in the field. But no,
that is.
And of course, you don't want to leave any of your toilet paper behind because that gives you up too.
Oh Lord, yeah, got to bury everything like a cat and get out of there and move.
My wife now, when I came back from Africa, we went on a camping trip on this lake down there, down in Kentucky, and she said, "What's that shovel for?" I had to explain to her about that.
Oh yeah, that's the burying shovel.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Africa as we start to close out a little bit. Two here. Well, actually, two more good questions here. Did you ever see evidence of other? Well, of course, other than weapons, I'm presuming he means. Did you see evidence of other countries in the war, like Russia and other Eastern Bloc countries?
We did find one time. I went in on that one, try to retrieve those nurses.
Oh yes.
And I was like a day late. Where they had them, they'd already moved them and everything. And my people, my DID said, just we were like a day late. But we did find an area where they kind of threw their trash, and they did have the foreign packaging and cans and stuff. Of course, we brought that back. That was one. And then the only other evidence, I think I told you, we got walked upon late at night one night where the unit moved in on top of us. And we got in a big firefight late at night. And one of the guys that we shot, it was like a company-sized unit, big unit. And one of the guys was crying and screaming in French. And that our did pick that up right away because some of them speak French. And that was the French advisor. And he was dying. And I would have loved to go in and got him, but 6 of us against 100 of them late at night, it just wasn't feasible.
Odds weren't in y'all's favor.
It was in the middle of a firefight. I mean, it wasn't like he was just out there by himself dying. So.
Holy cow, that is wild to clearly hear and them recognize the French. And wow, I wonder how long he had been around, man. That's wild.
I don't know.
Jeez. And before we talk a little bit about Rhodesia, did you ever work with, or did you ever consider working with the agency?
Well,
I'm sure you couldn't say if you did.
When I got back to Vietnam, I got involved in the nightclub business. A gentleman that my father knew, an older gentleman, had a nightclub, wasn't doing very well, and offered me a partnership in half of it if I would go in and straighten it out and get it working, which we did, or I did. But they did contact me about going to South America, and they were very interested. But at that time, I just got this partnership, and things were going pretty well for me.
Oh yeah.
So I turned that down. But then again, I told you, I think I told you about what happened in Rhodesia and South Africa, where I was offered a really hell of a job. But no, I'm glad I didn't, because But anyway, go ahead.
I was about to say it all worked out for the best. I mean,
Yeah.
It continued on the great story of Mr. Jim Bolen. And people are curious. Unfortunately, I don't see the guy that was asking about Rhodesia in the chat. But for our last question, could you speak a little bit about what you were up to in South Africa? I know you were hooked up with Robert Brown of Soldier of Fortune, and then Mr. Tom Cunningham, I think, ended up over there in South Africa with you. Could you speak a little bit about what you were doing and what was going on in Rhodesia and South Africa?
Well, again, this was after I'd been in nightclub business for 4 or 5 years, 6 years, and then bodyguard for a few years. And I was just getting real bored, and I wanted to go back someplace overseas because I really didn't have anything going on in my personal life. Didn't have family or any of that. So I contacted Bob Brown. That Bob Brown, Soldier of Fortune. Bob Brown's a great guy, Colonel Brown. He said, listen, there's a big pistol shoot in South Africa. It's a match. It's an international pistol shoot. And he says, he wrote me up a real nice letter that, I was one of the members of the American Pistol Squad or whatever it was. And so that got me over there. And actually I flew over with a gentleman named Dana. I'm not going to mention his last name. I think he's some kind of a prosecutor someplace in California now. Something, but he was a B-52 bomber pilot. Now there's an example about someone having good attitude, never been on the ground before, and we got into some hairy stuff, and he was just fantastic. But he never went through any military training as far as on the ground type work, squad type work, or anything like that. That's him right there. That's Dana right there. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, anyway, so we got into South Africa, and of course we didn't go to the pistol shoot, but you kind of we stayed at the Johannesburg Hotel there in South Africa, and that's where all the mercenaries stayed. And
mentioned in the book.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah. But and so I was contacted that there's some things. And of course, I have my resume with me. So I was told that there's some people up in Rhodesia who would like to talk to me. And so, we went up to Rhodesia and took a train up halfway and flew the other halfway. It's not too far. And I met with these people, and one of them says, God, you're so overqualified for what we want you for. I said, I don't care. I said, I just want to go out in the jungle. I'd like to see a little bit of action and stuff. And they just couldn't believe I'd want to do that. And it wasn't a whole lot of money, but, I was getting paid working along the Mozambique border, and I was getting paid for kills because these people were being trained in Mozambique to come across the border and then go and kill as many villagers as they could or whatever. They never did get into the towns to hurt anybody. Mostly just the villagers were protecting. But they gave me a very little bit of money for every capture, but they gave me a whole bunch of money for every kill. It's kind of strange. Wow. So that's how I got in Rhodesia. And people in Rhodesia, I ended up running around with Sergeant Major from the Rhodesian Army when I was there. There's Tom. That's Tom Cunningham there.
RT Louisiana, Tom Cunningham. He's on a SOG cast, as a matter of fact, guys, if y'all not listen to it.
Yeah. But this guy was really, really sharp, and he worked out, and I worked out a lot in Rhodesia. I got a lot of opportunity to really get in good shape in Rhodesia, believe it or not. And then we go out in the field for like 4, 5, 6 days and come back, and then, But Rhodesia, the town was beautiful. The streets were super clean. Same way with South Africa. The streets were clean, super clean. Everything was first class. It a whole different world being over. And I had just come back from Cannes, France.
Oh, yeah.
And France was dirty compared to Rhodesia and South Africa. I mean, geez. it's just amazing. And everybody wore suit and ties for almost every meal. It's a whole different level of.
Oh, we lost his audio, didn't we? Uh-oh. We've lost your audio, Mr. Jim. Let's see here. Hang on, guys. We'll see if he comes back on in just a second. Unfortunately, we'll see if he jumps back on. Hopefully he will. Hopefully it's just some issues here. I was trying to see, Frank, if it was 81, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, fall of 77, they get in at the Johannesburger, and yeah, 77, 78 when that photo was taken. Him and Tom Cunningham. Oh, there he is. Hang on. There we are.
Yeah, I don't know if that you're in or mine. I think it's my end probably.
Yeah, I think you froze up for a tidbit.
When I was talking about, you see a really sharp lady get out of a big Mercedes and everything, wearing a 9mm Browning high power, and I would here in Rhodesia in a black briefcase, and I still have it. Matter of fact, I have it in the closet. But I always have my high power in that. And it's funny, you go in the bank, there'd be a soldier there with a desk. Give me your briefcase. He would open it up. He take the high power out, look around the briefcase, put it back in, hand me the case, says, "Have a good afternoon, sir." I mean, guys walk in with machine guns, rifles, but they weren't looking for weapons. They were looking for bombs.
Oh,
they were doing a lot of bombs at that time in the people over there. But everybody, you go to a party over there, there'd be a big table, and everybody take off their weapon and lay it on the table. There'd be 20 or 30 pistols laying in there. It's just a whole different world. And all the time I was over there, you talk about gun control. I never heard of anybody getting in a fight and shooting anybody. Never heard of anything like we have here every day in the United States.
It's almost like the Israelis and how their people and even the women carry around the CAR-15s, or they may be the GAUs. I'm not sure, but they've all got weapons, and they don't have any issues, of course, except for terrorists. But I mean,
and they, everybody in Israel goes to the military too.
Oh yeah,
in the United States.
I think that's another thing.
Male and female have to go.
Yeah.
Which I said a long time ago that that's the way it should be here in the United States.
We need. I can see where people would be wary on that, but there's two things I think we're missing in society. Either you need to go into the military for 2-3 years, or you need to be in some civil service, civil action group in your community, and working, building homes, doing something to where you're just not sitting around, not getting any training or anything like that, where you're bettering yourself and the community. I
just think like when I was in college, I only spent a couple years in college. I beat up the mayor's son there at Athens pretty bad. They threw me out of college. But the guys there that were in the military and then came back to college, great students. No problem whatsoever. The military teaches you self-discipline. They teach you, you got to get your job done. It's not like, well, I'll do it after the show, or you get your job done first. And that's why I said everybody should have to go to the military at least 1 year before even go to college. Mm-hmm. That's just, not because I want them to go to war or anything, but just for the training. And it's good for them because I tell you, you learn to make your bed.
I was about to say, and not every one of the people that are going to be joining are going to be going to an infantry unit. It's not like we're in, Vietnam and everybody's going to have to fill a infantry line unit. It's you can actually get training. I fully agree on that, and I've actually been saying that we need to get some kind of program for our youth to where they can be prideful not only in themselves but our country and their community by doing something. It's just we got too many people.
Wholeheartedly, but I don't know what's going to happen again.
No. We're past that point.
Kids go to college now, come out with 4-year basic degree, expected to make $100,000 a year, and then build jobs for them. We need one thing about the military; they could teach you to be a plumber or a truck driver or whatever, and that's what we need to do. More people need to go to trade schools.
Had I not, I fully support trade school. Several of my buddies did that, and they're now welders making close to $100K. One's a truck driver, and
they don't owe $100,000 to
no, not a bit, not a lick. I should have done that. I was set on joining the military until that god awful car wreck nearly killed me. But I fully support you on that. We've got to do something for the youth. And I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent, but we got to do something to get our youth back on track instead of in gangs.
I could talk with you for a long time about that. I have a lot of ideas about that.
One day we'll have to talk about them. So with you being back, not in the military, but around getting to get in the action and everything, was there ever a inkling or a little itch to where maybe you thought about joining back up with the Rhodesians maybe or
thought about it? I thought, boy, the Rhodesian army, those guys were just super sharp. And that's something, and the sergeant major would always put it in my ear that I ran around with out there, I gave that a lot of thought, but my time when my visa was about up, and so I came back to South Africa, and then that's when I was offered that other job by Dirk.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not like you weren't going home to nothing. You went home and immediately started cooking, so to speak. You immediately stepped in and went to work. I was just astounded at just all the people you had mentioned Cairns a minute ago, and I was flipping through. You ran into Mr. Tan himself, Mr. Who is it, George Hamilton or whatever?
Oh yeah,
you were in Cairns with him. I mean, I've said it the other day. I'm quite surprised no one's come around knocking on the Bolen door trying to get movie rights out of you.
Well, that's the reason I wrote the book, because my wife, everybody kept trying to me, write a book. I said, no one's going to believe all the things I've done, the fights I've been in. And again, some of the things I've done, if she doesn't even know, if people knew about that, my whole family would get wiped out. But I've just done so much. I wouldn't believe, if I read my book, I'd say bullshit. I wouldn't believe it. I'm sorry. But fortunately, I have pretty good standing
documentation,
information, and paperwork, and things like that. But no, I've been lucky. But I moved from Africa. I met my wife, and we started in our kitchen. We started a little business with $2,000, and the first year was a calendar year, 6 months. We did $20,000 in sales. The next year we did $90,000 worth of sales. The next year we did $1 million, and after that was a multi-million-dollar company. So
that's one thing, also, guys.
Only America.
I was just fixing to say and you mentioned it earlier with the SOG men. I know several that went on to become lawyers and such, but and did well in school. But even if y'all didn't go to school after, there's one thing. Most of you SOG men got home and either stayed in the military and progressed greatly, or y'all got out and y'all made something of y'allself with businesses or creating something or what have you. It's been astounding to see the post-military career of some of you gentlemen and what y'all were able to accomplish in the private sector and in your home lives.
Well, again, it's attitude, discipline and attitude. and believing in something you're doing too, and not giving up on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got to believe in what you're doing and yourself.
The business I started, everybody said, "Oh, that's not going to work. That can't happen. You can't do this." Blah 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 blah. And I just went ahead and did it. You know, like I tell people, I said, you know, if I was a college graduate and really smart, I'd have put together a prospectus, what I was going to do and how I was going to do it, and I'd look at it and say, "Hell, I can't do that." But I didn't know any better. I just went ahead and did it. That's why I tell people. Because the bank used to have me give talks to people, other business people and stuff like that. The first banker, man, actually still a great friend of mine, Bill Meyer. He was my first. I tried to get a loan, $3,000 loan from every bank in town, and so I had put together, you know, profit and loss, what we're doing, which was very little. Everybody said, "Well, I'll get back to you in a week or two." In a week or two, they got back to me. No, sorry. Well, Bill Meyer, he says, "We'll give you that loan." And we started out with a $3,000 loan, and within a year, it was up to $1 million. Well, I mean, that's, you know, and like I say, we became very good friends, but he caught us off guard. He came to our business when, just to meet us, my wife and I. Well, hell, we were working our ass off, dirty and everything else, doing more work than anybody else in the plant. I mean, you know, so he's an old timer. He believes about work. And I always hated being in the office. I'd rather be out in the plant and work. My wife is the same way. Matter of fact, my wife could outwork any 2 or 3 men I had. And I had great employees. I had 42 employees towards the end. Wonderful, wonderful employees. They still write me notes, happy birthdays and stuff like that. Wow. Great. I was very lucky, very lucky.
And I'm not going to give away because we're going to see about being able to get a edition, shall we say, of Mr. Jim's book back out to where those of y'all that don't have the physical copy can have a digital copy that y'all can at least read like an audio book, but it'll be on screen. We're going to see about getting that out. But I mean, you talked about staying you know, people counting you out, or not necessarily counting you out, but you having ideas and knowing to yourself, this, I can do something with this. I mean, you work up, get an oil well. I mean, I was surprised to get to the chapter where you started Jepco and had worked with NASCAR. I mean, there's a great photo of you and Tracy Lawrence, and y'all are doing some Richard Petty driving school stuff.
If you go on like the country western music, the Good Die Young, that was Tracy Lawrence. That was a big. Well, it's all about NASCAR and driving, and you'll see me get out of the car and shake his hand and everything else. I spent 3 days and nights down there driving day and night, and it was a blast. And I had the best time down there at that school. I averaged 188 miles an hour, which means I'd be about 220 in the straightaway. And I tell you, I love speed and chocolate.
I was just fixing to.
You got a picture of my boat in there. I had 1,660 horsepower.
I was fixing to say, between the cars, the boats, the motorcycles that are around, you definitely love speed and some beautiful automobiles. That's for sure. I mean,
as an example, my business was doing very well, and I bought an old building that I was in. I bought the building, and I was home at night. My neighbor called me, said, "Jim, your building's on fire." I said, "Oh God!" By 2 o'clock in the morning, I jumped up, ran out, drove to my building. It was all ablaze, and then the fire department was there. So I ran in the building and got into my office and got my computer disk and some things like that, some important picture. I got my Africa pictures out. I left my wedding pictures. My wife never will let me forget that. They got burned up. But and then the fire department finally wouldn't let me go back in anymore. But anyway, I had to build a new building. So I bought 3 acres of property in an industrial park and put up a 35,000 square foot building. And what's funny, the builder that built the building for me. He told me later, like a year later, but before he turned the building over to him, it took him, I don't know, 3 months to build it, 4 months. He said, this building's going to be for rent in about a month or two. He says that there's no way that he's going to be able to, afford this building and sell enough product and this and that. Well, within a year, I had to add 10,000 feet across the back. And I gave that to another builder, by the way, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
In your face, my man.
Yeah, but again, who knows what you can do unless you really try, and you have to really believe in what you're doing. And I believed in what I was doing, and it worked out extremely well. I mean, I had an 8,400 square foot home, beautiful home. I mean, I just had life made.
Oh yeah.
Until the stock market, of course, killed me.
Unfortunately, like so many others, but it's definitely a book, and people are talking about being interested in the DVDs. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if you are still thinking about doing that. Where there's several.
One nice thing about the DVDs, if I do it, which I'm really leaning toward, all the pictures and everything will be in color too.
That will be excellent.
And then I'm probably going to expand from the time I cut off at the end of the book about my life and the kids and Brock playing professional football. I might put something in there about that, just different things like that.
That would be great.
Maybe, I don't know. See what people's interest is, but and again, I could rewrite the whole book. I probably should, because I'm not much of a writer. I mean, I don't embellish on anything. I just state the facts, and what I put down in 2 pages. Most people could make it 5 pages or 6 pages. Just a lot of BS. I just don't do that, and I hate embellishment. So. I probably won't change that much.
I was about to say, in my opinion, it is absolutely perfect. Other than the great idea of you adding some more in at the end, I think what you have SOG wise is perfect, and it's good enough that they actually use some of your missions because they didn't have any info in it in Colonel Lindsay's book. So that should let you know it's well enough written.
I think I'm on. I think Colonel Lindsay's got me on maybe 12 pages or something like that.
Oh yeah,
12 different pages.
A ton.
Starting it, yeah.
That's
he did a hell of a job in his book. He did a great job.
I was about to say, guys, that's another one right there. People always asking me how to learn about CCS. You can see that is a phone book right there. They do have a digital copy if you wanted that, but I got to have physical. I got to have it in my hand. But yeah, everybody's saying they would be interested, so I'm gonna have to stay in touch with you if you'd like to get the CD out. People will absolutely be interested in that.
Well, I just hate to see people paying $100 for my book.
It is crazy.
I could be glad, I guess, in one way, but I just.
It is an honor, but it's also
$100. I'll drive down and talk to you, tell you all about it.
In-person interview, get the whole book straight from you.
Yeah.
Well, let me see here. We're hitting about hour 25, and we're just going through our last questions here. Did you have anything you'd like to close out the finale with as we're shutting down here?
Well, one of the things, I want to thank you for, pursuing this SOG information from people and spreading the word, because not too many people know about SOG. And again, I want to thank your viewers, because the questions are great. I love answering the questions. The questions were very important, very good questions. I appreciate them asking those questions and stuff. And
I will say the group that they ask great questions, appropriate questions. It's none of the what's it like to kill people. They're a great group of viewers that are informed and ask great questions. I'm always proud of these guys and the questions and the respect they show to you.
But again, it's nice to get the SOG out. I mean, everybody that's involved in SOG, including the Air Force, the 20th, the Hornets. I mean, they were just unbelievable too. I mean, again, being a member of SOG, I mean, you just never knew. You knew for sure you were never going to get left behind. They would come in no matter what and get you out. You were never questioned if you needed need to get pulled out, there was never, are you sure you should do this or whatever? You're never a question. And like I said, they even, I called in some B-52 bomb strikes. And so that's pretty cool when you're in a position to be able to do that. So like I say, I'm just glad to see these people get the recognition that they certainly deserve. I mean, everybody in SOG got shot at least once,
Absolutely, at least. I'm just glad you're open enough to come on and share with us, because without you guys sharing, we wouldn't know anything. The future generations wouldn't know anything. So it's a big kudos to you and a thanks to you for actually coming on this many times and talking with us. Most people would get tired of answering questions and talking to us yahoos here, but we greatly appreciate it.
Well, no, I enjoy it. And like I say, just the problem with questions in the book and everything else, everything is so over the top. It's very hard for some people to believe. And I can certainly understand that.
No, as everybody else has said in the cast, we believe you for sure. And when you've got actual notations and citations from Chief SOG saying you did something, there's you can't have any doubt in your mind you were doing stuff you said you were doing. But again, for everybody watching, I just want to thank you not only for your service, writing the books, but joining us for 3 weeks in a row and sharing and talking with us. It means the absolute world.
Well, I appreciate everybody listening, because I told you I watched my things over and I said, oh God, man, I sound terrible.
No.
I'm just not really pleased. You do a great job. You do fantastic.
You're too hard on yourself.
You're the highlight of every show, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
Like I mentioned to you, at one time I used to be a pretty good speaker, but boy,
you're way too hard on yourself, sir. You are still in control and doing well. We sit here just on bated breath listening to what you've got to say.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
Well, I can't thank you enough. Everybody else is putting their thank yous in, and if I get any special requests or someone reaching out, I'll touch base with you. But I'll keep letting you know. The previous two I told you are about to pass 2,000, which is a great view of things already. So I only expect them to go up even higher. So no need to worry about that. And I'll stay in touch with you, and we'll keep an eye on things and see if something pops up we can talk about. We'll see about having you back on.
Anything I can do to help, I appreciate it. And thank you very much for having me on.
Excellent, sir. Have a good day.
All right.